right, welcome back to Getting Sober, Again, my name is Jay, and this is your New Year's Eve sobriety pep talk. If you haven't yet, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. We have a large and lovely community here that's waiting to hear from you, and I'm always interested in hearing what the update is on your current streak of sobriety. So if you have nothing else to say, update us on what your current streak of sobriety is, even if it's just 2 hours. Everything counts, am I right? So first and foremost, since we're talking about comments, here's how I want everybody to start off today's video, okay? We only got a couple more days before New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and some of you are catching this probably late, and maybe it's already mid-January by the time you're watching this video, but I want you, right now, full transparency, what we're gonna do is a very important exercise, and it's a truth exercise. We have an episode called What Are the Big 5 Enemies to Your Sobriety? There'll be a link to that video after this video is done. What we're gonna do together right now, grab yourself a pen and paper, be prepared to pause this video, is I want you to write down what are 5 examples, 5 ways, 5 people, places, things, activities, whatever it is, football, your relatives, 5 reasons, 5 things, 5 people, places, and things that you actively participate in or hang out with, whatever it is, whoever they are, that are standing in the way of you and your sobriety. If you're not willing to do these 5 simple steps right now, these small exercises that we're doing right now, then it says about you that you're not willing to find the truth. You're not willing to do things like actually ask yourself, how much money am I spending or was I spending on alcohol and then alcohol-related expenses? We know that there's the domino effect of addiction, and that one bad decision leads to another bad decision, leads to another bad decision, leads to you waking up in bed with all of your clothes on, with your keys in your pocket, with your shoes still on, and your car in the driveway. Who drove you home? Oh my God, did I drive myself home? You know that you have the friends that aren't good for your sobriety. You know that you have those friends that you were good all week. You know that they're not gonna be good for you. They're not gonna be good for your future goals, because birds of a feather flock together. We know that misery loves company. We know that our friends don't typically want to be challenged to do better, to be better, to have to make any changes. And that brings up the next important topic, that if you're getting sober for anybody else besides yourself, you're doing it wrong. Of course, we can have the best of intentions. We can have our heart, our mind, our soul, our body in the right place. We can say we're doing it for our partner, for our kids, for our family, whatever it is. Those are all things that are possible. But it's not possible if you're not doing it for yourself first. You have to have the will to succeed to get sober. And there is a checklist of milestones, and there is a hierarchy to that checklist of milestones. And darn near the top of those single important individual days is, guess what day? New Year's Eve. How many days, comment below, how many New Year's Eves have you gotten drunk? Comment below. How many New Year's days have you woken up hungover? Comment below. The whole purpose of doing the commenting below and stressing the importance of community is because we know from our live streams and live chats that not a lot of us have gone, or nor are we currently going to, say, AA meetings or taking advantage of therapy services, right? Our therapy for a lot of us was going to the bar. Our therapy for a lot of us was grabbing a bottle at the liquor store and suppressing whatever those feelings were in solitude, in silence, struggling in silence, and trying our best not to make it anybody else's problem. But that's broken thinking. And when we actively make steps towards updating the way that we think, just like how your phone needs to update the software to its hardware, we know that there's bugs and they need to be worked out. So we all have broken ways of thinking. We all grew up with bad habits. We all grew up with bad role models, and we all grew up and found ways to either fight or flight. And that just became the way that we handled our everyday life, our everyday stresses. From our best days to our worst days, our single tool of choice happened to be alcohol. And for some of us, it wasn't just limited to alcohol. Maybe it was cigarettes, maybe it was pills, maybe it was weed, whatever it was. We know that our lives have become out of balance. But we only drink for 2 reasons. What are those reasons? You know the answer. We only drink to feel better, or we drink to escape. Escape what? The stress, the responsibilities, the relationship that you're in that you don't think is what you wanted it to be, the kids that aren't the way that you thought they would grow up to be, and looking in the mirror and not liking who's looking back at you. All of these things are possible, and all of these things are a reality for all of us. We all share the same insecurities. We all share the same types of stresses. Whether you're going through a divorce, whether you're going through a job loss, whatever it is, we share deaths in the family. We share makeups. We share breakups. We share layoffs. We share coworkers that we don't like and bosses that get on our nerves, and we all choose to cope the same broken ways until we upgrade the way that we think, until we get new ways to respond to the same old stresses, which is arguably and easily the gateway drug to all of the reasons and all the ways why we choose to self-medicate. And it's not until we decide that we're sick and tired of being sick and tired that we're gonna do something about it. Some people wait until they're on the cliff's edge, until they're at the fork in the road where we know that this road leads to adventure and this road leads to our demise. Some people are gonna wait until they get that terminal diagnosis to try to turn their life around, but at that point, it might be too late. So let me ask you a question. Do you wanna wait until you get a terminal diagnosis? Do you wanna wait until you wake up that fateful morning when your partner has their bags packed and they're taking the kids and they're leaving town for good? How much longer are you going to wait to realize your true potential? How much longer are you going to wait to start putting in the work, whether it be dieting from certain friends, dieting from social media, dieting from YouTube, except for this channel, whatever changes that you need to make? Write those down right now. Remember, at the beginning of this episode, some of you just listened straight through and you're like, oh, I forgot to pause. You're gonna write down 5 active ways and reasons of people, places, things, events, activities. Write down just 5 of them. If you can write down more than 5, write down more than 5. But your first prompt was to write down 5 reasons, people, places, things, activities, whatever they are, that you're still doing that lead you to continue drinking, that lead you to stress, that puts you in the wrong place at the wrong time repeatedly and keep you right back in that cycle of spending your nights drunk and spending your mornings hungover. And now the second prompt is to write down 5 things that you are going to change. Notice how I didn't say that you hope to change. Things that you are going to change. And maybe the first thing that you're going to change is the way that you speak. When we speak affirmatively, we bring these things into existence. What's the difference between me saying, I hope I get to go grocery shopping today versus I'm going grocery shopping today? There's a very clear line, a definitive line. On one side, you're going, and the other side, you have no idea if it's going to happen because you're not sure if the CEO version of you who writes the rules and the policies and the employee version of you who has to do the tasks are on the same page or even in the same company of yourself. When you start thinking of yourself as the CEO of the company of you, you start to value your time. When you start to look at yourself objectively, meaning taking the feelings out of what you want the desired outcome to be. When you stop looking at the past, which is causing you to be depressed because you can't control the past, and you stop overthinking the future, which causes you anxiety because it hasn't happened yet. And anytime that we think about something undeterminable that might happen in the future, it gives us anxiety because it's uncertain. All uncertainties will give us anxiety. But is that a reason to drink? No. Is that a reason to self-sabotage? No. Is that a reason to crumble in your place and hide from the world and limit yourself from being the best version of you that you possibly can be? The answer again is no. You know what you need to do. And for those of you right now that still aren't sober yet, there's no shame in whatever step of this process that you're in. If you're 2 minutes, 2 hours, 2 days, or 2 years sober, the struggle is still the same, but I'm promising you right now, it absolutely gets easier. The more time and space and distance that you put between you and all of the red flags of your past, all of the embarrassing situations that you put yourself into, all the risky situations, all of the lapses and judgments that you had can all change the second you decide to turn that ship around. And a month later, all of a sudden, there's going to be a noticeable change. And a year later, it's going to be a night and day difference. And a couple of years into that, you're going to have a whole new life. I promise you. But before we start thinking about 2 years later and getting all that anxiety, let's calm down and let's rewind. Let's remember the 2190 rule that states that it takes 21 days to create a new habit, and it takes about 90 days for that new habit to become a more permanent lifestyle change. So the good news about that is, even though there's 31 days in January, it only takes about 21 days for it to become a new habit. And kudos to you for those of you that took our advice in one of our last episodes where we talked about using the month of December as a warm-up, as a practice leading up to New Year's Eve, because just because it's New Year's Day doesn't mean that your life's gonna change. Doesn't mean that you're gonna fall back in love with your partner or that they're gonna fall back in love with you. It doesn't mean that you're gonna be a great employee, a great husband, a great wife, a great parent, a great son or a daughter. It just means that it is in fact a new year, but it might not be a new you. How you become a new you is just becoming 1% better each day. All you have to do is get through this day sober. All you have to do is make more better decisions than you did yesterday. Every day is all about perfecting the recipe of you and knowing when we have a little too much stress in our daily recipe, knowing when we need a little bit more rest and a little less late night scrolling on TikTok, which, by the way, are you following us on TikTok? There's a link in the video description down below. We know that it's all about retooling our habits. It's all about retooling our mind. It's all about not overwhelming ourselves. It's all about self-care. It's all about boundaries, personally and professionally, knowing when to say yes, but more specifically, knowing when to say no. Knowing when you don't have the time or the energy, and not doing things like overcommitting yourself, which is going to stress you out leading up to these things that you happily agreed to 2 weeks ago when it wasn't current you's problem. And that's another exercise of truth. Knowing that you can't do all the things that you want to do and dedicating enough time and energy and sleep and diet to the things that you need to do. Whatever your priorities are, whether they be mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially, creatively, romantically, you name it, I want you to have an amazing year. I want you to get through this New Year's Eve sober. And I want you to feel the glory of waking up on New Year's Day and emailing us and commenting on this video. Whatever you want to do, you can send us an email to gettingsoberagain@gmail.com. You can send us a message on Instagram at gettingsoberagain or on TikTok at gettingsoberagain. There's so many ways that you can get in touch with us. Oh, did I mention that we have a Facebook page and a Facebook group? There's so many different ways to build community. And with that, I want to wish you good luck on your New Year's Eve, not that you need it. And I'll see you in the next video. Click on this video to watch what are the 5 big enemies to your sobriety journey.